Hi there, and welcome to part 2 of Shadow of the Colossus, a look at the art and the story. Just as in the first one, I'm going to just give you a quick warning. There's some major spoilers in this video, and if you plan on playing it and you don't want to see everything in the game before you play it, then turn off now. Do not watch any further, because we're going to go through the environments, we're going to go through all the Colossi, and we're going to show you the ending to the story, and I'm going to talk about the story in a bit more detail. So it's completely ruined if you get that far and you haven't played it and you wanted to play it. So don't continue watching it if you want to do that. Okay, so you've been warned. But some people do want to see it, and then watching, you know, hours and hours of playthrough is quite a long procedure. I've done it myself on some games. It takes a long time. So these videos was meant to be sort of like a quick trip through Shadow of the Colossus, tell you the story, show you the Colossi, show you the environments, look at the art, and you know, really enjoy it for what it is, because it is spectacular, without investing all the time. So that was the idea. So let's go forward and let's look at some environments. Okay, the first thing you notice with Shadow of the Colossus is the vastness of the world. It is absolutely enormous, and if you didn't have aggro to ride around on, it would just take you forever to get anywhere. They would have to come up with some other system, but luckily we've got our fellow companion aggro, and she's great at getting you around quite adequately, actually, although she's a bit hard to control at first, but once you get the hang of her, she's really good. But it's a completely open world. I don't recall any loading. There was no lag or slowdown or loading or anything like that. I didn't feel anything like that. It was completely continuous, seamless experience, which is just awesome. Really, it's just amazing. It goes from, you know, wide open scrubland like this to deep canyons, and everything in this world is colossal, which kind of fits with the theme of the game, which is pretty cool. But then, you know, it goes on to dusty deserts. Lush woodland. Huge lakes and crumbling cities. It pretty much covers all bases, and it looks fantastic. And the thing is, with Shadow of the Colossus and Eco and The Last Guardian, is that they all have this very distinct style, although I do think Shadow of the Colossus is slightly stepped up a little bit. They kind of put a bit more colour into this world than they originally had, because it was a very grey world. But Shadow PS4 Remake has got a lot more colour in it. But it's fine. I think it adds to it. I think it's fantastic. The world is completely empty, and that's deliberate. When I say empty, it hasn't got anything in it apart from you, i.e. Wanda, Agwell, the Colossi, a few birds that are flying around, and some lizards. But that's deliberate. It's the Forbidden Land. There's not supposed to be anything there. There's not supposed to be anyone there. It's sealed away. Nobody should be able to get in there, and Wanda shouldn't be there either. So that's why it's empty. So they kind of help themselves a little bit technically, because they can have to render other creatures, and occasionally you see other characters come along, and I'll talk about them in a minute. But generally, there's nothing else in here, you know, and it's a very good reason for it. It's part of the story. One thing I felt when I was playing this, because I've completed the new Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and this kind of had a little tinge of that. It's not the same sort of game, but as I was riding my horse across these vast landscapes, and I just kind of got this vague sort of feeling of Zelda. And when I started climbing the vegetation on the rocks, I kind of felt a bit Zelda-ish. But, you know, it doesn't go very far. It's just a feeling I had from playing both games. But like I said, they're not the same. Anyway, so let's move on and look at the Colossi. First one you come across is Valus, and a pretty simple Colossi to defeat, and you'd expect that being the first one. But when you first see it, when it first rumbles onto your screen, it kind of takes your breath away. It's quite amazing. The sheer size of it, you stop and you think, how on earth am I going to kill that? And obviously you're guided along the way to some extent for the first one. Wanda has to kill these creatures by stabbing at the seal. It has a light seal on each of the colossi. And remember, I said the light seal is what's holding in the dark piece of Dormin inside it. Unknown to Wanda at this stage. He thinks he's just got to kill them to free his loved one, but that's the light, you know. And like I said before, the light and the dark is very obvious. And that stuff that's coming out of the head is initially it's just the sort of dark black blood of the creature. Several stabs into the seal is finally broken. You've got to watch your grip, because if you lose your grip you fall off the creature and you have to climb up again. But there's the final blow, and yep, you get a trophy for that, which is cool. And the creature falls, and do you know what, it's actually the way they've done it, it makes you feel bad. You don't want to kill them. I felt guilty killing these colossi. I don't know why. And there's the darkness coming out of it, escaping out of the colossi and going into Wanda. So now Wanda has a piece of Dormin inside of him. Okay, so the second colossi is Quadratus. Not too difficult in terms of gameplay, and on the wall there, things bursting out, trembling. I feel a bit guilty. These creatures are just in a slumber, and you come along with your powerful sword and disturb them pretty much. So this guy's called Quadratus, and I've read, you know, quad. He's on 4 legs, rat. He kind of looks a bit rat-like, giant rat-like, potentially. And this creature's got multiple seals, 2 seals on him, and you have to defeat both of them. You shoot the bottom of his feet with your arrows, and he falls over, which allows you to climb on top of him. And as long as you stay up and you keep your grip under control, you initially stab at the front until it disappears. And then you make your way to the rear where he's got another seal, and then you just stab at that for the rest of the bar. You can see the bar, the health, I guess it's a health bar at the top left of the screen. Just keep stabbing at that until it goes down. And you have another guilt trip. Killing these creatures is so amazing. It's almost graceful in the way they die. That's sad. And again, another piece of Dorman is released and goes inside Wanda. So next up is Gaius. This guy was, this Colossi was quite tough actually, just to figure out how you get onto him basically, because it wasn't obvious to start with, but then you realise he had this big weapon in his sort of right hand. He slams it into the ground, and you have to run up it to get onto him and climb up his shoulders. Then once you're up there, obviously, you take him out, destroy the seal just like all the others, and take him down. Okay, next is Federer. This guy was a little bit tricky. This is different because you have to use the environment for this one. It's kind of got these little tunnels that you have to run under, and you kind of move, you have to guide him around using the environment. Get him in the right position, you can climb up on his back and then take out the seals, just like you do with the others. And then we have Avion. This is the first one which involves water, basically. Even though he's a flying creature, you have to swim around in this water and get onto an island and attract him to you. And then you sort of stand in the water on this little island while he swoops down, and when he gets really close, you have to sort of jump on his wing and then climb up his wing and slowly take him out, basically. I think he has several seals on him, so you have to run from one to the other. I think one's on one wing, one's, yeah, they're on the end of the wings. Take him down, just like all the others. Okay, next up we have Barber. This guy was quite tricky because the arena was quite big, he came out from behind this big wall and basically had to run right to the other end. I don't show it here, but it's quite a long running, climbing bit, and he's trundling after you, stamping his feet. And it's quite challenging. You know, some people sort of stood around, tried to kill him in the first part of the arena, and it's not the way you do it. You have to go to the back, attract him, and then once you get him into position, you sort of jump on his beard, climb up, and take out the seals. It was quite difficult because you had the grip. You didn't have much grip. You can see the yellow bubble on the bottom right there. But you had to keep climbing back up to recharge your grip and then climb down and take out the seal. Next up was Hydrus. Now this was a proper water one. This creature swam around in the water and you had to get into the water. Wait for him to come towards you and grab his tail as he sort of dived and then swam past. Quite tricky. But doable. Looks fantastic. Electric sort of eel type thing. And he's clinging to his head. Seal. Seal the seal. To release another piece of dorming. Okay, next up, this one's a bit tricky. I didn't actually get to record his death because he killed me, and then I switched off recording and took a break, and when I came back I forgot to press record again. But he climbs up around these walls and chases you around this arena, and it's pretty awesome. But we're at the halfway point now, and if you look at Wander now, if you take notice of his wrists, his hands and his neck, if you can catch a glimpse of it, he is starting to get black, and his veins are starting to go black, creeping out his hands and his neck. And this is dorming slowly coming out of him, which is quite cool. A lot of people don't notice it. Not heard many people mention it when I'm playing. It is very subtle, but it's there. You can see it. This is Basilan. This guy was tricky because you had to flip him over on his back. See the geezers there? You had to flip him on his back. Once he was on his back, you could then climb on the fur, which is underneath his belly. But he was hard to maneuver. It was hard to get him to come over towards the geezers, the eruptions. Yeah, but once you did, he was quite a battle, that one. And it's interesting because each one is a bit different. They do get a bit more different. You have to use a different strategy to kill them, and it's really interesting and really clever. So next up we have Dirge. Not sure how you pronounce that. But this guy, you had to shoot in the eye. And once you got him in the eye, he would then crash into the wall. And the other thing is you can't see where he's going. And you get off your horse, you get on his back and you start stabbing at the seal. But he was tricky because that was the first time you had to ride and shoot your arrows both at the same time. So a bit of practice was required for that one. But get the hang of it pretty quick. And at the end of every death, you get this little sequence where you see the seals being destroyed one by one. So back at the shrine of worship, you get this explosion of each seal, and it gets destroyed. And you know, slowly you can see yourself working towards the last Colossi. And then once that's done, Dorman speaks to you again, tells you where the next creature is. Well, it gives you a clue as to where the next creature is. And then you see the seal, and off you go. This is Colossi. This is the first small one. There's a couple of small ones, even though they're Colossi. And there's a couple of small ones. This was to destroy, because he was quite nippy. And once you got on him as well, like here, he would not keep still. Didn't seem to be much of a window to stab him. Took quite a while to kill him. You just had to watch your grip and just hang on and keep going, basically. This one was quite tricky. I couldn't quite figure out where the seal was at first. You sort of got onto his back and you had to steer him towards these islands by hitting some sort of teeth on his head, and he would move then, and you had to get off and sort of trick him into getting up like he just did, and then taking out the seal.